Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are playing with a mixed medium class. We are going to be using the TheraBand every time we find ourselves in a seated frame. I've got a short, medium intensity band, but you can bump it up or bump it down. Then for the rest of the class, we'll be using our own body weight. At the end of the class, we will use a yoga strap. So let's give for our stretch sequence. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's class coming into a tall diamond seat at the top end of the mat. Every time you find yourself in this diamond seat, you are going to be reaching for your strap, and we'll be playing rotisserie style on the mat today. Find your tall seat, making sure that you're not collapsing the frame of your trunk into your pelvis. So I want you to come out through the pelvis and sit up nice and tall. Grasp the TheraBand between the two hands. Let's say about shoulder width apart. We're going to do wrists looking down. Let's anchor on the left and let's start to tug out on the right. But I want you to come back as slowly as you can every time. Nice and slow, giving yourself as much resistance on the band as you can. And in the pull, hold it. Then teeny tiny little pulses. Bring it all the way down and just release your shoulders with a few shrugs to the front and then a few to the back. Let's play on the second side. Find your anchor, and when you're ready, start to tuck, creating as much tension on that band as you can. End in the tongue, hold it. Then teeny tiny little pulses. Release that, place the TheraBand down, release your shoulders, and as you do so, ground the feet. Cupping onto the back of your thighs softly, you're going to take a big breath in, lengthen your spine. On an exhale, you're going to round out into a gentle C curve. You're going to hold that C curve once you've found it with your weight tipped just off your tailbone. And you're going to keep playing with the C frame while bringing yourself down to the mat and floating your legs up so that you're making a deeper U-like frame with your body. You've got your shoulders and a good portion of your upper and maybe some of your mid-back off the mat. You're going to try to keep that deep U, and we're going to transition into a single leg stretch. We're going to support from the outside and from the inside on that incoming leg. Last one. Hug your knees into your chest as you rebound to the mat. Give yourself a few side-to-side cradle rocks. And then use that cradle rock to find your way onto the side of the body. We're going to assume a low to the mat position today, and we're going to stack our bodies in one long line. Top hand on the floor, on your thigh, or reaching for the sky. We're going to find a lifting and a lowering pattern through the legs, moving them as one unit. We're going to end in the lift. You're going to hold it. Then you're going to relax your legs down to the mat and you're going to press up onto the elbow of the bottom arm. We're going to collapse into the shoulder and we're going to come back out. We're going to do that 3 times. The third time you come out, you're going to hold that position, keeping your ribs up nice and high, and now pretend that somebody is shrink wrapping your trunk in cellophane and pull your navel in. Maybe tapping softly on your belly to remind yourself to pull it. Find your way onto the belly. We're coming into a cobra. Bend your elbows, place your palms alongside your bosom. Relax your legs in parallel. Keep still, belly button down. Let's work belly button up. Find a little marble underneath your nose. Start to roll it away with the tip of your nose and peel up into a small chest lift with 3, 2, or 1 rib still on the mat. Hold that chest lift and try to give me less press into your palms and more fire through the back muscles. Keep your elbows gently squeezed into the center line. Lean back down and stack your arms one on top of the other, relaxing your forehead to the back of your hands. We're going to fire through the glutes as we execute a double leg lift. Keep that pattern going. Try to keep your legs as long as you can. Don't bend the knees, don't flick, don't kick. Lift and float and reach. Keep your 2 hip bones in contact with the mat throughout. End in the lift. Pretend you've got a soccer ball between the 2 ankles. Squeeze into the ball and come back to parallel. Keep that pattern going. Squeeze, release. End in the squeeze, hold it. Release to roll onto your second side, setting up your body in that long line with your shoulders, hips, knees, ankles stacked one behind the other. Find your lifting and lowering pattern, picking the top arm position that works for you today. And in the lift, hold it. Relax your legs down to the mat, stack them, and press up onto the elbow of the bottom arm. Collapse into your bottom shoulder, and then press away. Do that 3 times. Relaxing, and then pressing away. Hold the third one, keep your rib cage up nice and high. Pull your belly into center, pretend you're being shrink wrapped around the waist. Hold, give me the slimmest waist you can, and keep pressing away and out through that bottom shoulder. Find your way from here back into your original diamond seat and reach once more for your Therabat. We're going to give ourselves a narrow gap between the two hands. So maybe 1.5 fists between the two hands, and we're going to assume a wrist down position, locking our arm height at shoulder height. We're going to give a small tug out, lots of tension on the TheraBand, and then release. So you're working inside of the shoulder line. Keep your seat nice and tall. Keep your navel drawn in softly towards your spine. And in the tug out, hold it, hold it, hold it. Teeny tiny pulses. Let go of the TheraBand. Find your way into a tall seat. Holding softly onto your knees or your shins. Big breath in. On an exhale, find your C curve. So look for that contraction in the belly. Pause once you've found it. Think almost a shrimp-like frame. Then use this to fall back softly on the mat and come into that deep U-hold. Transition to a double leg stretch, extending the arms and legs, making a soft V, and then tucking back in. Maybe you'd like to add a sweep of the arms. Find your way onto the back, maybe cradle rocking out. Find your way onto the side of the body and stack yourself in one long line. We're going to find a double leg lift. We're going to lock that height in, so we're not going to reground, and we're going to use the two big toes together to trace a circle. Keep moving in the same direction. The circle that you're tracing is somewhere between a tennis ball and a really small soccer ball. Now change and move in the opposite direction. Find your way from the arms to the belly. Oh no, sorry, we forgot to work on the side of our body first. My bad. We're down onto the bottom elbow. Collapse into the shoulder and then press away 3 times. We're going to end pressing away. And you're going to reach with your top arm. Float and reach for your toes. Find your way onto the belly from here. Setting yourself up for a cobra line. Elbows bent, palms alongside your bosom. Legs relaxed and parallel. Breathe up into your cobra, setting the chest height that's working for you today. Keep squeezing the elbows softly in and then see if you can lift, hover, and keep your palms off the mat. Now relying just on your back muscles to hold the cobra line. Keep your gaze down on the mat so that your neckline is neutral. Lead your way down onto the belly, stacking your arms for your double leg lifts. Using your glutes to lift and lower those legs, keeping them in a long, reaching line, hip bone to toe. And in the lift, start to squeeze into your imaginary ball in soft, controlled, big pulsing-like motions. And in the squeeze, hold it. Melt that down. Roll onto your second side, setting up that long stack through your body. And when you're ready, begin to lift the legs, set your height, and start to trace that circle in one direction. Then change direction. Bring your legs down to the mat. Find your way onto the elbow of the bottom arm. Collapse into the shoulder and then press away 3 times. End pressed away, shrink wrap your waist and relax your top hand to your thigh. Then look for that top hand. Lift and reach as if you were trying to touch your toes. Hold. Strong through the bottom shoulder, shrink wrap waist. Bleed your way from here back into your seat, finding that little diamond-like frame through the legs. Reach for your TheraBand. We're going to have that same short distance between the 2 fists, but this time we're going to work wrist up. We're going to set that height at shoulder height, and we are inside of shoulder width apart. We're going to do a small tug out and then float back, trying to keep those arms as extended as we can. Slow and controlled. Nice tall seat, long spine, reaching crown, belly in. And in the tug out, hold it. Teeny tiny pulses. Release the TheraBand, place it one side. Ground your feet while you release your shoulders if you need to. We're coming back into our U-hold, and this time we're going to extend the arms out in front. Big breath in. Now you've got no hands to support, so you really need to find those belly muscles as you round out into your C curve. Pause in it once you found it. Abs engaged and working hard. Use that frame to bleed your way all the way down to your mat in your U-hold, and then float your hands up towards the sky, making a U with your body. We're going to try to keep the shoulders off the mat. If you need to, you can ground your hands, or your hands and your shoulders, and you can place your hands underneath your booty if you need to. We're going to extend the legs. We're going to find a drop pattern on one side. It could be a quarter, a half, or full, and then we're going to come back to switch, and we're going to try to keep the arms floating. So think of this as a scissor-like pattern, slow controlled scissor. Last set. Lead your way down to the mat, finding a little cradle rock. Use that cradle rock to find your way onto the side of the body. Sit up that long stacking line. We're going to find that lift off the mat. We're going to keep the bottom leg in a hovering position, and we're going to lift and lower on the top leg. Place your top hand where it's comfortable for you, challenging yourself if you like. We're going to end in the lift, hold it. Then relax the legs down and find your way onto the elbow of the bottom arm. Think of this as a side cobra. We're going to collapse and draw back out. We're going to hold the third one. We're going to shrink wrap our waist. And we're going to bring the top arm as close to our ear as we can. And we're going to hold here. Keep pressing away and out through that bottom shoulder. Keep those ribs up nice and high. Shrink, wrap your waist. Onto the belly for some cobra work. We'll build on the last two patterns. Palms alongside your bosom, elbows bent and tucked in. Find that marble underneath your nose, roll it away. Set the height of your chest lift. Find your hovering palm position and then keep that distance from your palm to the mat as you reach the arms overhead to tap your index finger and thumb and then swim back. Shoot for 10 repeats. Find your way back down to the mat, finding your stacked arm position for your double leg lifts. Begin when you're ready. End in the lift, start to slowly squeeze pulse into your soccer ball. End in the squeeze, hold it. Feet back down, rolling onto your side, setting up your side position. Find your first lift, lock the bottom leg in position and start to lift and lower on the top leg, playing with the top arm and finding what works for your body today. And in the lift, hold it. Then stack and ground your legs and press up onto the bottom elbow. Start to collapse and come out through that joint. End pressing away from the mat, shrink wrap your waist and relax your top hand to your thigh. And bring it as close as you can to your ear and hold there. Growing, reaching through that arm that's stretching overhead. Strong through that bottom shoulder, don't collapse. Ease your way from here back into your tall diamond seat and reach for your TheraBand. We're going to open up the arms about shoulder width apart and you're going to float them overhead. If you do have a ponytail, you might need to just move your hair out the way so that you don't become ensnared. We are going to tuck down on the right side and float back, keeping as much tension on the band as we can. In, tuck down, hold it. Release back down, give your shoulders a little release if you need it. And when you're ready, let's begin on side two. Remembering to move your hair out the way if you need to. All right, so we're going to tuck down and we're going to come back. We're going to keep as much tension on that band. So if you need to reposition your hands as you get going, then do so. End in the tug, hold it. Find your way back to a tall seat. This time, we're going to float the hands overhead. Big breath in, find your C curve. Keeping your arms softly framing your ears. Hold, hold, abs working. We're going to find our way into our U frame. Keeping the arms extended, we're going to extend the legs and we're going to try to loosely hold onto the back of our thighs. We're going to drop both legs together, either a quarter, half, or all the way, and then back to tap. Trying to keep your shoulder blades just off the mat if you can manage it. One more, then we'll cradle rock it out. Find your way onto the side of the body, stacking yourself in that one long line. You're going to keep your legs long and reaching as you find that lift. Then you're going to lift the top leg just a little bit higher than your hip, and you're going to play with the bottom leg only, squeezing towards the top leg and coming back down. Picking the top arm position that you find challenging. And in the squeeze, hold it. Relax your legs back down and find your way onto the bottom elbow. collapse, and press away. End pressed away, shrink wrap, and place your hand on your top thigh. Look for that hand. You're going to lift and reach. Then you're going to arc, frame, and rotate to look to the back end of your mat. We're going to do that 3 times, the whole time keeping strong on that bottom shoulder and keeping our ribs nice and high off the mat. Find your way from here onto the belly for some cobra work. This time we're going to work with our arms extended in front of us, palms down on the mat. You're going to give me a gentle press into your palms as you articulate up into your cobra line and set your height. Then see if you can come to a slow alternating lift and float. Lifting one arm, floating it up to about shoulder height. Lean back down, stack your arms. Find your double leg lifts when you're ready. End in the lift and begin to squeeze into your ball. Hold the last squeeze. Relax back down and roll onto your second side, setting up that long body stack. Lift your legs off the mat and then float your top leg a little bit higher than your hip. And when you're ready, start to squeeze the bottom leg towards the top leg. Picking the top arm position, that works. End in the squeeze, hold it. Relax and stack your legs to the mat and press up onto your bottom elbow. Collapse and press away. End pressed away and relax your top hand to your thigh. Look for that hand. We're going to lift, reach. We're going to arc, frame, and rotate through the head. We're going to do that 3 times, keeping strong through the bottom shoulder, arm, and side of your ribs. Find your way from here into your last diamond seat, reaching for the TheraBand. We're going to anchor on the left, and you've got a couple of anchoring options. You can either grasp the TheraBand in your fist and anchor your fist to the mat, or you can drape the TheraBand to the mat and press down and hold. You could even anchor the strap underneath your bottom, but if you do, make sure it's secure. Or you can just grab it, fist your hand, and press into the side of your thigh. You're going to give yourself a fair amount of TheraBand, and you might need to experiment after the first one. You're going to pretend that you are a knight, and you are placing your sword into its scabbard. You're going to pull it out, and you're going to reach across the midline. So you're starting on the outside of the one hip, and you're ending on the outside of the opposite shoulder. So we're working on a diagonal. We're going to end in that pull, hold it. Then change sides, releasing your shoulders if you need to. When you're ready, start to draw that sword, adjusting the tension on your TheraBand as you need to. Last one. Place the TheraBand one side. We're going to find our way into our U-hold. And this time, we're just going to cup gently behind the thighs. Big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to start to round up. You're going to hold. Maybe you don't need your thighs and you can pretend that you're hugging your tree. Then soft fall back into your U-hold and tuck your hands behind your head. Draw one knee in, extend the other leg and rotate towards your incoming knee to find an alternating crisscross pattern. Hold your last one. Then switch and hold. Reground to the mat, cradle rock. You're going to roll onto the last other side of the body. One last time. You're going to find your long, tall stack. You're going to lift the legs. You're going to keep that lift, and you're going to play with the feet. Heel and toe in unison. Then maybe challenge your coordination by toeing on one side, heeling on the other, and then switching. Find your way down to the mat, pressing up onto the elbow of the bottom arm. You're going to collapse and press away. And pressed. See if you can lift your bottom hip off the mat. You could keep your legs stacked. You could stagger them. You could bend on the bottom leg. So pick what works for you. Then raise the top arm up and reach in front. Strong through that bottom shoulder, still shrink wrapping that waist. Hold it. Lead your way onto your belly for your last prone cobra. Arms long and extended in front will add to our previous movement pattern. Start to press softly into your palms and then articulate up into the chest lift height that works for you. Fire up your back muscles and float your palms. Now start to sweep the arms back in one sweeping movement, tracing a semicircle as you play. on either side of your body. Back muscles working hard to hold the cobra line. Breathe back down, stacking your arms and finding your double leg lift when you're ready. End in the lift and begin to squeeze, pulse softly. Or slowly, not softly. End in the squeeze, hold it. Melt back down and roll onto the second side of your body, stacking yourself in one long line, one last time. Find your lift off the mat. Pick your arm line and then start to toe and heel. At first, you're working the legs in unison, or rather the feet in unison. Then start to play in opposition. So one foot is reaching and the other one is bracing. Find your way back down to the mat. Press up onto the elbow of the bottom arm. Collapse and press away. End pressed away. Lift your hips off the floor. Reach your top arm for the wall in front of you. Find your way from here onto your back and reach for your strap. If you don't have a strap and your TheraBand is long enough, you can use your TheraBand. Don't have a strap or a TheraBand, maybe use a belt or maybe a long towel if you have one. I didn't give myself enough mat to play, so I'm coming right onto the edge of my mat. If you've got a strap, maybe fashion yourself a little loop that you can feed your right foot into. Okay. We are going to start by just tugging down on the strap and then releasing, trying to keep our right leg as extended as we can, and we're going to bend and ground on the support side. End in the tug, hold it. Then hold onto the strap with the right hand, and you might need to experiment with how much strap you need to give yourself. We're going to T-lift, and we're going to trace a big lazy circle bracing into the right foot. Change direction. And in the A-line position, take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to drop to the right. You're going to look to the left. You're going to keep anchoring on your left side, maybe extending your support leg. You need more work. Bend the right elbow and start to tug the foot softly closer towards your ear. Bend the right knee. Tuck it into a half lotus line. Maybe you're holding onto the foot. Maybe you're holding onto the foot and the strap. Maybe you're holding just onto the strap. Make the right knee heavy away from you. And then let's change sides. Taking a moment just to find yourself first. Begin to tug on the strap and release. Trying to keep that leg, the working leg, as extended as you can, so you're really getting into that tight kink behind your knee. And in the tug, hold it. And maybe anchor left, anchor right, and start to trace that big lazy circle, giving yourself as much strap as you need to be able to play. Give yourself a few traces moving in one direction only, and then a few in the opposite. Really opening up and lubricating into the inner thighs, the pelvis, the groin. And take a big breath in. And when you're ready, drop the leg out to the left. You look to the right. Bending your elbow and tugging closer towards your ear line if you'd like to, and maybe extending your support leg. Coming back to your A-line stretch, then maybe bending your left leg, tucking into a half lotus line. You can use your right hand and the strap. You can just use the strap. Experiment. See what's working today. And then make that left knee heavy to the floor. Then release the strap. Take a long, delicious supine stretch on the mat. Reaching your arms overhead, reaching through your toes, reaching through your fingers, allowing for a neutral spine, but making that belly button nice and heavy. And relax your body. Keep the left side relaxed and stretch on the right side only. Fingertip to toe. Then soften again to isolate the stretch on the left side only. Release back to neutral. Maybe rock up into a tall seat. Maybe looking for that diamond frame that we began with. Cupping softly onto your shins or your knees. Just take a few deep breaths here, closing your eyes, taking your focus inward, and just taking a moment to thank yourself for making time to come and play and work. Thank you so much. Till next time, keep it light.